Hello, peeps. I'm back for Mastermind Chapter 5. What's that? I just want to say that, I know in Chapter 4 and Chapter 3 there was, a lot of pronunciation mistakes. It's because I'm just trying to get through as many chapters as I can. If you could let me know down in the comments whether you would prefer me to stop, slow down, with, trying to get as much as I can out, and take time to edit it all together. I can definitely do that. It's just do you want quality or quantity of chapters? That's what I should be asking. Anyways, sorry for another long intro. But yeah, let's go to Mastermind Rise of Anarchy, written by Clouds. My head in the clouds, not coming down. Read by MHA. Chapter 5. Cause and Effect. Summary. The results of Mastermind's actions. Shota was tired. He had been saying that for years, of course, but he almost wished that he could go back and hit the him of 2 years ago over the head and knock some gratitude into his stupid, tired head. He hadn't realized how well-rested he used to be before everything came crashing down, and he found himself with more responsibilities than he'd ever asked for in his career. It had started with Eri, of course. When she had first ended up in police custody, they hadn't been sure what her quirk was, and she obviously hadn't liked talking about it. But after a few sessions with the counselor, she finally opened up about rewind and revealed how lethal it could potentially be, especially since she had practically zero training to control it. It was already a given that she would be put under hero protection. Even if Overhaul's gang had been wiped out, there were plenty of other villains that would jump at the chance to use her in the same way if he had a normal civilian foster family. It just wouldn't be equipped to deal with it. After they figured out the specifics of her quirk, however, it was only logical to place her with Shota, the one who could turn off her quirk if it went out of control, and who had experience both teaching quirk and discrimination. He hadn't been planning on adopting her, but, well, he had been one of those people who she was willing to trust, so it was only logical to make it official. The fact that he could turn off her quirk gained her a lot of trust. Overhaul raised her to believe that her quirk was evil or disease, and it was going to take a lot of time for her to heal to that incarnation. That's probably wrong. But Eri wasn't afraid of hurting him because she knew he could protect himself. He hadn't been planning on becoming a de facto father to a traumatizing little girl, but after months of soothing nightmares and teaching her how to control her quirk, he had to admit that he couldn't imagine his life without her. But having kids around constantly did make him more tired than he had been, with the only things he had to keep alive were his cats. The next big thing adding to his exhaustion was the increase in crime rates. Mastermind's reign of terror had emboldened the local criminal and encouraged them to work smarter. Add that to the League of Villains' influence that started a trend towards larger villain groups and teamwork, and equaled a lot more work for the heroes that hadn't been killed for punished or pushed into retirement. And then, of course, the Hero Commission had failed. They'd had to resign the Hero course. For as long as UA existed, there had always been a push towards creating heroes who were popular and would do well in the media spotlights. But it was something that the Commission had encouraged, was a large part of the reason that UA had gained the title of the top hero school. But now, it was a distinctive disadvantage. According to applications for next year, the few kids who were still aiming to be heroes were overwhelmingly choosing other schools to go to precisely because UA was popular heroes. No one wanted a program that would paint the target on their back for Mastermind or any other villain with a similar agenda. So if UA was going to survive in this new world, they are going to have to adapt. A lot. And who did Nezu turn to expect in the underground heroics? The underground hero Eraserhead. He was the master of staying out of the media and operating in the shadows, so it was only reasonable the only reasonable course of action was to put him in charge of spearheading the heroics program. On the other hand, it was a wonderful opportunity to fix things that Shota hated since he had been a student. He had gotten rid of the sports festival, for one, so that they wouldn't be broadcasting students' quirks to their enemies. He had actually gotten approval to change the entrance exams to something that actually measured students' dedication and quirk control, rather than simply screening flashy and destructive quirks. He was so grateful for those wins. On the other hand, however, he was having to create almost an entirely different curriculum, including underground essentials like parkour, gathering information, and stealth, which was a lot of work. Media manipulation classes had changed from how to keep the public's attention and get good reputation and how to avoid reporters to how to avoid reporters and how to spread misinformation so that articles written wouldn't equal a death sentence. The other teachers and most of the students were completely lost as they tried to navigate the career that was now fundamentally different than what they had signed up for. And they were looking to him to guide them through it. Shota sighed as he finished washing his face and looked at his face in the mirror. Was it normal to grow gray hair at 30? Probably not, but then again, Shota hadn't really ever cared about his hair before, so he wasn't going to start now. He grabbed an elastic from besides the sink and pulled his hair into a half-hearted bun, and he left the bathroom to go get started on breakfast. Eri was awake, which wasn't a surprise. Insomnia was common enough PTSD syndromes. Shota had been very careful to let Eri know that it was okay that she was allowed to do things like draw or watch TV when she couldn't sleep instead of a cartoon. Though his morning watching the news and a forgotten drawing in crayons sitting on the table in front of her. Currently awaiting trailer in Taurus, the reporter said, the green screen behind him floating a picture of Midoriya's arrest. It seemed like vultures weren't talking about anything else lately. It was Mastermind this and Midoriya that. His personal favorite. Could a quirkless person really do such a thing? It was ridiculous. That was what they had got for constantly emphasizing the power of quirks, though someone's quirk didn't equate to their potential and definitely did not equate the danger levels. If Midoriya's rise to power had proven anything but people's prejudice blind to the fact, Shota ran a hand through Eri's hair. If anyone else had tried to touch her, he would have frozen and panicked, but with Shota, she leaned into her touch. Hey kid, he sat down heavily beside the couch. How are you doing this morning? Eri frowned and looked at the screen, where reporters were still droning on the same overplay, the fact that they have dug up about Mastermind's rise of power. Is Mastermind-sama gonna be okay? Shota sighed. Eri had a hard time with Mastermind's arrest, obviously. He had saved her from her abuser, even if he hadn't originally meant to. It was so confusing to her that he was being threatened and treated as a villain when she saw him as a hero. He'll be fine, Shota said for about the 100th time. Prison is the safest place for him to be, both for him and everyone else. Eri nodded. This wasn't the first time that the conversation Shota knew wouldn't be the last. It would be simpler if Shota could divide the world into black and white for her. Tell her that some people were good and some people were evil, and that there were hard lines between them. But society no longer had that luxury of ignoring the gray. Midoriya had made sure of that. They're saying such mean things about him, though, Eri pouted. What if he hears them? He doesn't have access to the news where he is, Shoto explained patiently, leaving out the fact that Midoriya was smart enough to figure out exactly what the media was saying about him. He's not going to hear them. But they're so mean! Eri whined. He's nice. They're lying. Shota pouted and Shota put a hand on Eri's shoulder and looked into her eyes. Mastermind hurt a lot of people, Eri. He made a lot of people angry because he hurt bad people like Overhaul, but he hurt good people like All Might. People are going to be angry with him for that, and that's okay. I know. Eri picked at one of her fingernails. But I wish that they could see how nice he is. He saved me. How about we turn this off? I could turn on the princess movie you like, the one about the girl escaping her tower. Eri's eyes widened. The one with the healing quirk who was saved by a villain too? Shota's shoulders slumped slightly, and he grumbled. I guess Flynn Rider is kind of a villain, wasn't he? No wonder you like that movie so much. How about it? Want to go watch Tangle? Eri almost smiled as she nodded. Almost. Inko hadn't been able to leave her house since Izuku was arrested, both because of the protesters that were camped outside her house. Most days she hardly found the strength to leave her bed. She felt so betrayed by both the heroes and her own son. Watching her son as a wanted villain was enough shock, but realizing that the police had used her ignorance against her just to catch him, saying that it had broke her sounded dramatic, but there was really no other way to describe it. Of course, Nezu had patiently explained why it had been their only available course of action, and Inko would be able to understand the logic of it if it wasn't her son. How could things have worked out differently if she realized the true impacts of the notebook, if she found it before taking it to the police? The thought had been popping up in random moments for the past few weeks, like an itch that wouldn't go away no matter how hard she scratched. Would she have turned him in of her own free will? What if she kept his secrets? What if she kicked him out? What if she had begged him to stop? What if he listened? Her answers seemed to change by the day until they were so muddled together that she just wanted to pull her hair out and contacted yells from the crowd did not help. She had turned on the radio 24/7 just to drown them out. They were calling her a bad mother. As much as she tried to deny it, Inko had to admit it was the truth. If she had been a better mother, maybe she would have realized how bad things were for Izuku. Maybe she could have stopped the bullying, or even before he was pushed off the edge. Maybe if she would have realized how intelligent her son was, she could have encouraged him to be a doctor, or even a quirk analysis, and helped the heroes, rather than hurt them. If she was a better mother, hundreds of people that Izuku had killed would still be alive. She wanted to apologize and make things right, but it just felt so cheap. After all, her apologizing wasn't the part that had started this whole mess, was it? If she would have just told Izuku that he could be a hero when he asked, instead of apologizing and shattering his dreams. She flinched as she heard an egg against her window. The police protection that had been placed were usually able to keep back the more violent protesters and prevent them from reaching the house, but she knew most of the officers hated her as well, just because of who her son was. She turned the music up slightly and tried to ignore her own thoughts. She missed her baby. Okay, poor Inko. I feel so sorry for her. She deserves better. Yeah. So like I said, I might actually just put out a community poll if you want quantity, more chapters produced at a time, or quality, which means maybe a chapter less, or half the speed if I'm editing and stuff. But I have the time, so don't worry about that. So if you would prefer quality, just let me know. I'll make a community poll too for that. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. And yeah, day, night, morning, whatever time it is for you guys. But yeah, I'll see you in chapter 6.